Hello. Hi, everyone. I think we are live again. So as you would have probably seen the title of the video, let's build some industry level vocabulary. So what happens is that when you are going for an interview or you are starting a new job, you are maybe fresher, not having so much of experience, you don't know the industry terms that they use, right? Some of the words and terminology that they use in the industry are not something that are in the textbooks. Textbooks are more focused on the academic stuff, how things work, but the language is slightly different in the industry. Even I get surprised quite a bit of times that I don't know about some terms and stuff that they use, that they talk about. Some when I was in the development side of it, when I used to do a lot of .NET development in my career, some of the terms I was not aware. When I moved into DevOps and specifically in cloud, a lot of terms and stuff, that got introduced, and now I'm quite fluent in using those words in my day-to-day life. Why it's important for your interviews and for your job? Because the industry people and the fresher or somebody who is getting into a job, the real difference is that they have certain experience, they have some industry experience, and they speak that language. And when they come for an interview, and if you don't speak that language, you speak very naive language, like something like just a small example, like I like coding in Python. So coding, and if you use a word called development or that sort of difference, right? Coding or writing my code, I write my code in Java. So that differentiates you from a professional and a fresher or a junior or that sort of difference. And then there are a lot of such other scenarios if you take, right? So for example, a junior engineer or a fresher would probably call that this activity would take a lot of time when we move data from here to there, or the database is going to be very slow if we access a database in US, but our application is in Singapore, then the application would be very slow. But an expert would probably say that this would cause a bit of latency between applications, and because of we are using two different regions, so there we should expect a bit of latency. So that's the difference. Small examples, but a lot of such examples are possible that can differentiate you in any interview. So my idea is that you try to understand these terms, understand why we speak certain terms in this way, and try to gain some knowledge. So let me bring some technology, some terms that today I have brought for you, and then we can discuss what you have in pipeline, maybe a sort of giveaway at the end of the session, how you can make more benefits from subscribing to this channel. So let's first of all discuss about certain terms. I hope my presentation is visible to you guys. And let's take a look at some of the real industry terms that they use. Let's take about 10 such terms that I will try to bring. Usually in the cloud or any other platform where you are building to deploy for your customers, you will use terms like day 0, day 1, day 2 kind of terms, day X basically. And usually day 0, day 1, day 2. Day 0 is before you go live, what sort of activities you are going to perform. A lot of people, I was not aware 3-4 years ago when I never heard of these terms. So day 0 is, for example, you are setting a Kubernetes cluster, or you are setting up a specific environment for an application. What sort of activities you will do before you go live? You will build, test, CI/CD stuff for that application. All that will become sort of day 0, setting up the cluster. Day 1 is when you are actually going live. So you will do specific things for day 1. Okay, we will be going live at 9 p.m. So there will be a change request. There will be some sort of activities during the go live process. We will deploy the application. We will monitor it for a few minutes, maybe rolling updates or blue-green upgrade, whatever is the process you are following, that all will qualify as day 1 activity. Then comes day 2, all activities until that application is decommissioned, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. all those activities will be called day 2 when you are trying to maintain that application in your environment. So that is a common terminology that they use. Now, workloads, second term, workloads. Usually people who are just certifying or have basic knowledge, they will say, oh, I have EC2, RDS, some sort of, the service that they use in the cloud, name of that service. But workloads is a very generic term used when you are migrating your workloads from, and so instead of saying that I'm migrating my EC2 servers or I'm migrating my server from on-premise to cloud, you will say I'm migrating my workloads, because workloads is a generic term which brings any infrastructure component or any such component in that umbrella. So it could be EC2, could be RDS, could be any such SQL server, Oracle server, everything qualifies as a workload. So very massively used, that I migrated my workloads from here to there. All my workloads run in GCP environment, that kind of language. Third term I thought I'll bring is immutable infrastructure. Relatable is mutable infrastructure. Very commonly how we use it is, again, using an example, pets and cattle. So pets are something you take care of your pet, you keep a close watch on your pet, something like your child, your partner, that you will take care of it. And in terms of infrastructure, that is called mutable infrastructure. So which can be modified for a period of time. You have a server, you don't decommission it. If you have to install Nginx on top of it, you will install Nginx version 1 today. Tomorrow Nginx 2 has to be installed. You will not change that server. You will keep that server like a pet. You will install Nginx 2 on top of it, whatever version of the application you will install. That becomes something like your pet, called a mutable infrastructure. Then you have immutable infrastructure, more like you don't want to modify that infrastructure. You treat it like a stray dog, a cattle, and then you destroy that whenever you want. CAP theorem is very much used in the industry. Just to, when you are, go read about this. A lot of times it shows up in the interviews also for freshers and even for architect level people. The crux of it is that in these 3 parameters, consistency, availability, and tolerance, the partitioning tolerance, you cannot achieve all 3 at the same time. So these are like 3 different vertices of a triangle. And if you pull 1 or 2, the other will come down. So that sort of concept. If you increase your consistency, tolerance, then availability will go down. So that sort of CAP theorem. And it used that to ask right questions in your meetings, that what do you want, what is your preference of that application. If the application has to be highly consistent, real-time data, then the availability may go down, or the tolerance may go down, and that sort of thing. Bring your own license. Of late, I'm hearing this quite a bit. It basically means that when people are going from on-premise to cloud, they already have some license for something like Oracle, MySQL Server. And when they go to cloud, before you go to cloud, something like day 0 activity, you will be doing a lot of license analysis. So that's where you need to understand that you can actually use your on-premise license in the cloud as well. So understand these terms. Bring these terms in your interviews, and you will be immensely benefited. Then next few terms are technical debt, very commonly used in the Scrum, very commonly asked in the interviews, what is technical debt? So for example, to do certain activities in the cloud, you take a lot of shortcuts, or in the DevOps, or even in the dev area, you say, you put some shortcuts in your project. Those shortcuts, if they eventually lead to a technical debt, that you will eventually get rid of that shortcut and make it a long-term solution, which can be easily maintained by others and by your company. So until that time, a technical debt remains in your product, and that's how you track it in Jira or somewhere as a tech debt. So commonly used term. Feature flagging, important question. DevOps and cloud engineers need to know that when they are deploying any microservice or any such product very frequently in the production, they should have some sort of feature flag talking to the application team. They need to build that kind of arrangement that they can enable or disable certain features without having to redeploy the application, without having to make code changes to your application. So that is feature flagging. A flag, a feature flag, say yes or no. Very common in companies that deploy very fast, very frequently. But in the interviews, even companies that are very slow will ask these kind of questions. So root cause analysis is the next term. Very commonly, a lot of people would know. But for things fail in the industry, right? Things do fail in the cloud. Everything is likely to fail in the cloud. That's what AWS openly says, that everything fails all the time. So a root cause analysis is the analysis done after any incident has happened, any problem, anything happened to your cloud environment, your application infrastructure. You resolve that problem that time, maybe using a tech debt or whatever solution you get at that point in time, because your customers are waiting, you have to be live. But you will perform a root cause analysis where you will see why this problem happened, what could be the reason, what future steps you can take, which will basically build your backlog, and then you will work on that in future, and so that that incident is not repeated. Multi-tenancy is very commonly used term for SaaS applications and startups kind of companies. Banks and other companies try to be slightly away from this. They prefer isolated stuff. Multi-tenancy is where you are using a bit of shared infrastructure to host the application for multiple customers. So, for example, we use, say, Zoom or Jira application in the cloud, or any such application in the cloud. So I am using it. I am one of their customer. My data is isolated from other customers, but I probably will be using a lot of data from that platform that is shared between these customers. AWS itself is a good example of multi-tenancy. So I am using a data center, which maybe other customers are using as well. But my data, my VPC, my account is isolated, whereas I may be sharing the underlying entire availability zone or region, that for that matter. So it's an example of multi-tenancy. MVP, so commonly used word, but people who are not in the industry may not understand this. Instead of saying POC, proof of concept, in your interview, you mention that you did an MVP for this. So minimum viable product is the commonly used term. So instead of building the massive, something which is like a Taj Mahal or any seventh wonder of the world, you start with basic. You start saying that basic functionality of the product before we build the massive product. So that what is that basic? Basic should also meeting some customer requirements. So basic could be, if I am building a trading application, that yes, my customer should be able to log in and place some trades. That could probably define as a MVP. Later on, you will add a lot of security features, logging, monitoring. You will be adding a lot of charts, whatnot. So you can add a lot of features to your application. But what is that MVP? MVP is that basic POC, basic construct that your customers can start using. That can be your version 1.0. It's not the full-fledged product. It is the MVP. It is probably a small POC, which is used by our customers as well, just to get the idea, just to get the vibe of that product in the market. So these are some of the terms. Now, I talked about giveaway in the end. What you can do is build similar sort of presentations for the community. You guys hear a lot of such words: high availability, latency, and whatnot, right? Multi-region. Build such small presentation. Try to present something like I have done live, record it, send it to us on these details. My WhatsApp number is there. And some of the other instructions, give us a description so that we can publish it on YouTube. We want to make it an interactive community where you are participating in this and you are helping us build the community. So now I have given you 10 terms. You go and research few other terms that are spoken in the industry. try to build a sort of catalog of that. Use those words in the interview. Going for an interview, make sure you read those terms quickly. Just glance them so that you can speak those words. Vocabulary makes massive difference. That's what we focus on in our projects, in our boot camps, that you do the projects or not, you make sure that your vocabulary of the technical words that the architects speak, because you are going to be interviewed by maybe architects, maybe project managers, what they speak. If you speak some of their words, think how nice connect you have already made with them. So that's the objective. Send us all the your Google Drive link on this WhatsApp number, and what you're gonna get in return is I have got so many Argo CD certification vouchers where you get an authentic badge from Argo CD group, and usually $80 you're gonna get it for free of cost. I have so many of them, but I can't give it random to anybody who is not making any effort. I will be only giving it to people who help us build the community, who are interested in learning. So you don't have any reason. If somebody is student, somebody doesn't have funds, not working, and want to showcase a voucher or want to showcase basically a badge, authentic official badge from Kubernetes community, they can use this opportunity. Submit your videos, submit your stuff to us, and we will be releasing a voucher to different people, whoever is submitting. So that is the idea. Make use of this opportunity. And yeah, we'll keep coming with a lot of such content. Stay subscribed to the channel, and also see if our coming bootcamp, which starts 17th September, helps you. That's a very beginner-friendly bootcamp. We will make sure that your vocabulary is improved in 3 months' time. We don't want to do a very small sort of stuff, so that want to give you 3 months time. So even if you miss 1 or 2 sessions, you can watch the recordings. If you can join live, you can ask any questions during the live. Just unmute yourself and ask questions, and stay interactive. Build that vocabulary, build those projects that we are going to tell you in that bootcamp, and showcase your projects to us. Help us build this community. And obviously it will anyway going to be helping everyone out there. So yeah, I'll see you guys in another live stream or another video. Stay tuned. Bye.